Perfect. So I am recording this evening's workshop because I'm committed to recording at least one per month. And to my recollection, maybe I've taught this once before. Maybe it's brand new. I don't really know. So I remember preparing for it in the past, but I don't know if I did it. So welcome. We have a short time together this evening. So thank you for those who chose to show up. If you haven't met them yet, we have 2 new team members. So hopefully you have. If you haven't, make sure you say hi to them before they go. And really the intention and the purpose of every single one of our workshops is to give you the tools to make better choices. And the reason I say that is it's research that was done during the time of COVID, if you remember that, anybody? I think that was a thing, right? And the number one cause of death on the planet, regardless of where you were born, what kind of your finances look like, your genetics, any of it, was the same regardless of where they looked on the planet. And by the way, it was not COVID. The number one cause of death was poorly made choices. It was ignorance of not knowing there was a better choice. Now, if you grew up like me, you were told that the word ignorance is a bad word. It's not, it's simply a word. Ignorance literally means, if you look it up, is not being aware of something. That's all it is. So if people are not aware that they have a better opportunity and a better choice, then how could they possibly make that choice? Right? So my commitment is, in our now roughly 29 or 28 remaining minutes, because we will end on time, so you all hold me accountable. I told the new team members this. I have a tendency to get excited and talk a lot. And sometimes I talk more than my allotted time, and that's not okay. So if I do that, then the team gets a $50 bill from me that they can spend on whatever food item they want, and I get to watch them enjoy it and not eat. So if I've ended and you guys keep going, not my fault. No, I don't. I don't actually. You asked the question, but I don't. I remember you did that. So anyway, we're going to stay on track. My promise is we prepared incredibly well for this, and that the only way you leave here not better off than you arrived is you intentionally and choose to not engage. So my ask is you choose to be open to engage. We may and often do talk about things that may challenge your thought or belief or whatever process, and that's okay, because if we're going to change, none of us change when we're comfortable. Like sitting in the chairs right now, every one of you are going to sit in the chair exactly as you are until the moment you're uncomfortable. Yes? The moment you get uncomfortable, you're going to shift. And the same is true in our life. The only time we're going to change something about our life, about our health, about our decisions, about our relationships, is when something about it makes us uncomfortable. When we're comfortable, we do nothing different. So yes, tonight's conversation is called Vital Needs, or another version is keeping you in check. Does anybody need help with that in their life besides me? Marriage is awesome. It helps me with that. And it's rapid responses and vital needs. So I was thinking about the story I wanted to share to open tonight's workshop. And earlier today, I was listening to an audio, and one of the quotes in the audio was from Earl Nightingale. So I'm going to paraphrase it because I didn't write it down. But the quote, everybody have an idea who Earl Nightingale is? Not really? Okay. So he's written a ton of really great books. He was a very well-known motivational, as they were called, speaker back in like the 80s and 90s. So look him up. He's got a lot of great information and advice that we could all utilize to upgrade our life. And one of his quotes is that we are all self-made men and women. The difference is only the successful ones tend to take credit for it. So what that instantly made me think of is we have all chosen and made the choices to design our health where it is right now. And some of us are very happy with where our health is, and some of us are not very happy with where our health is. And the fact is your health, the only person whose fault your health is, good or bad, is yours. So if we want something different, you made your own health, just like you made your own life that you're in right now. And the only person that really has the power and ability to change it is you. So if there's something different you want, or I have an agenda, by the way, my agenda is for you to share this with more people, because more people deserve to get checked and understand how their body's supposed to work. So I will ask you at the end who you're going to share something with, to give you plenty of time to think about it. Because the fact is you all know people that have no idea of even the things we talked about in the first 3 minutes. They don't have a clue that they're in charge of their own health and their own decisions. They don't have a clue that the power that made their body is the power that heals their body, or that really everything is a representation of the choices they made, and they don't have a clue what those better choices could be. So even if they never get care, everyone on the planet deserves to at least get checked by what I'll call a vitalistic chiropractor. So a vitalistic chiropractor is someone who looks at the vital needs, weird, right? The vital needs of the body and respects those first. And then there's everybody, the allopathic chiropractor. Does anyone know what the word allopathy means? Anybody got a phone? We're going to play some Googling. So somebody take out your phone and Google the word allopathy. And I'm going to go take care of that timer. Ooh, it's a, yes. So allopathy, I mean, we can still Google it. Sammy's on it. Allopathy is the practice of modern medicine, and it's the relief of symptoms. So very rightly, you go to your doctor with a symptom, they give you a what? A thing to relieve your symptom. It's completely by design. It's allopathy. Vitalism is how do we get your body to work at its absolute highest level? So the story of the evening that I'm going to choose to share was the fact, and I'm not going to necessarily name who it was, but there's someone in the healthcare field that we mutually take care of a lot of patients, and they do a lot of things holistically, or more holistically than otherwise. And Dr. Ash and I both scheduled appointments to go see them because it's good to have a regular medical doctor too that can check your blood, do your tests, and do all those other things. And this person's response to one of the health challenges that Dr. Ashley has is that you need to be on what is called a bioavailable hormone, which is really a hormone made from plants or not one your body would make, for the rest of your life, and you'll be fine. Does that sound right to anybody in the room? Is take this thing for the rest of your life and you'll be fine. This was on first meeting. They didn't even do a blood test yet to see what she actually needed. You know, say I didn't make that appointment, I canceled it. But that's against our worldview of how your body is supposed to work, or how your body does actually work. So is it okay for a medication, a hormone, or whatever short term? Absolutely. If you are someone who has, say, high blood pressure, you've made life choices that now gave you high blood pressure, and it would be a really good idea to take something to lower your blood pressure. Yes? Should you do that your whole life? What could be another option? Yeah, learn how you got the high blood pressure. Figure out how you created the situation you're in. And my hope is outside of this office, you choose doctors who have similar conversations of basically, you messed up, you have this problem, we're going to give you this short-term solution for the next 60, 90, maybe 180 days, depending on how bad it is. We're going to make you show up to workshops. I don't make anybody do anything, but I recommend it. If you're going to be here, you have to come to workshops, by the way. You don't have to do anything, but if you want to be a patient here, you got to be here, right? You don't have to do it. And teach you how to change the lifestyle habits that put you in this crisis in the first place. And the reason I go with blood pressure is, what is the #1 cause of death in America every year, medically speaking? Heart disease. The predictor of heart disease, well, if we're going to find it on a test, is high blood pressure. And the first symptom of heart disease for most people is what? The heart attack. And what percentage of people survive their first heart attack? Is it greater or lower than half? It's lower than half. So that's not so good. And I realize I'm not even past the first slide and we're through 10 minutes. But it's important to kind of drive this home of when they started prescribing statin drugs, which are blood pressure medications for the most part, what happened in the United States to the rate of deaths related to high blood pressure and heart disease? Did they go down or did they go up? I mean, there's two options. What do you think? Yeah. So they figured this out in the 80s. So if as of today, you have high blood pressure and go to your doctor, what do they prescribe for you? High blood pressure, statin drugs. But in the 80s, they figured out that they forgot to look at an important step when they saw what this blood pressure medication was doing, and that was life expectancy. Oops. They went, oh, it lowers blood pressure. That's great. They forgot to realize that the rate of the numbers of people dying of heart disease actually went up while taking a drug to make your numbers look okay on paper. So back to the story of where we started is, for me, maybe not for you, but for me, if I go to any healthcare professional and they tell me, take this thing for the rest of your life and that's your solution, that's a problem for me. And we're going to get into why that's a problem for me now. So if we can get to the second slide. So slide number 2, maybe. There we go. Hey, we got slide number 2. So we're going to do a quick version of this. I know there is someone who's going to share their story, so I'll absolutely leave time for that, I promise. So does this look familiar? Like, it's literally on the wall. So this is the vital needs triangle. So who's got their phone and wants to go do some Googling for me? I promise we're going to do some Googling. I want someone to Google the word vital and someone to Google the word need and just tell us what the definitions are. So these are separate searches, by the way. Awesome. And what does need mean?
Required because it's essential for various purposes.
Whoa. So those sound mildly familiar or similar, right? So if it's vital, it's absolutely necessary, and a need is essentially necessary. So putting those two words together, we're probably talking about something kind of important. So here are the vital needs of your body, and we're going to dig into them more. Come on, there we go. Food. Anybody else food motivated? Yeah. Hence the team gets to spend the money and I get to watch them eat. That's going to hurt me more than the money probably. Water, right? We're going to get into how long you can live without these things. Oxygen. And there's one more. Any guesses? Energy. Yes. So it's the electrical flow of your body. It's the ability of your brain to send messages to your body and your body to send messages back to your brain. So it's that electrical energy. Now we'll get to these other ones, but how long do you think someone can survive without that electrical flow? Like milliseconds, maybe? Yeah. So if there's a complete cutoff of electricity in your body, that's not so good. The other ones take longer, but isn't it true all of these things are required for life? So in our society, we're very comfortable talking about food, like how many diet things are out there. Oh my goodness, that's a different subject for a different day. If the word has diet in front of food, don't eat it, just go for food. Water, nothing wrong with it. How many people do you see walking around with like their gallon jug with like their timing on it to make sure you're drinking enough water in the day? Side note, I forgot my big water bottle at home today and I'm super thirsty right now because I try to drink 3 of those a day. It's 46 ounces. I don't always succeed, but I want to stay really well hydrated because I know it's a vital need of my body. And then oxygen. So breathing, moving, exercising. These are very common conversations across the planet all the time. We should clean up our diets. We should clean up the water we're drinking, or maybe drink less soda and drink more non-toxic water. And we should probably move our body and breathe. Yes? So we live in a world where people are obsessed with not dealing with the actual problem. Yes? Right? And this is not just vital needs, this is across the board. And this is not a judgmental statement, it is simply a fact of many of us will not do anything about the problem until we get uncomfortable enough to take an action. So I've seen a few of you do the chair uncomfortable shimmy so far, but you didn't do it till you got uncomfortable enough to do it, yes? So it's not okay to ignore the most important things. So we have to be logical and have conclusive reasoning of mobilizing people to simply get checked. Remember, I started with the statement of I have an agenda. Because if I didn't tell you I had an agenda, most of you in the room have known me long enough that I have an agenda, but you'd be sitting here thinking, this guy's up to something. He wants something from me. Well, the only thing I want from you is to help you make better lifestyle choices so you can live the life God put you on this planet to live and to share it with everybody you know. Because if they don't know, they can't do better. So if I didn't tell you I had an agenda, somebody in the room would be going, he's up to something. So I like to put it out there right at the beginning. And what it means to get checked. Anybody guess what it means to get checked? Who remembers what their pre-screening was when they first came in? I'm going to put one of my new team members on the spot. So we talked about the pre-screening. There are 2 things to do in the pre-screening. Do you remember what they were? It absolutely does. They both do, in fact. So there is posture and there is palpation. So I know it's not, you've been here for a day and a half. That wasn't the super nicest thing, but so it's posture and palpation is to get checked. Now, does that mean that they are signing up for whatever their care plan might be or paying any money or doing anything? No. Getting checked is one of the most valuable things that I do every day. And I gift it away because it's that important to me for people to learn. If they then have the information, they then have the ability to make a choice. The choice could be, it was nice to meet you, but I never want to see you again. I think I'm a nice guy, so that doesn't normally happen. Or the choice could be, hey, maybe I'll come back when a couple months when it's a big enough problem, or maybe they're ready to jump right in. Now, if you're sitting in the room, you jumped right in. So good job, right? So getting checked is really, it's simple, it's easy. And really my ask is what I started with is people who are currently here, which is you guys, you know, people that have no idea of the things that we're sharing that could be on a path of honestly health destruction, and they think they're doing something good for themselves. So has anyone in the room ever known a single person who has been prescribed an opioid for back pain? Right? Now, some of you with your hands up, because I know this to be true, knew that person and they didn't make bad choices. They had the result that many people on opioids have, which is it's now over 100,000 people a year in the United States die of an opioid overdose, or not an overdose, die of the opioid drug that they were prescribed for in the first place. And it doesn't mean they took too much. It doesn't mean they took it wrong. It means they died because they were prescribed a drug. 80% of the time was because they had back pain. We have an entire class dedicated to that because it's that big. Now, by no chance, I think, if you look at the statistics, words are hard, of why people go to their medical doctor, guess what they show up to the medical doctor for 80% of the time? Back pain, which means if 80% of the opioids on the planet are being prescribed for back pain, and 80% of the visits to our medical doctors are for back pain, it's not hard to see that if we were to help educate even our own medical doctors better, then maybe they would know to make a different choice and not give them the medication first, but say something along the lines of, let's try a conservative approach for, I don't know, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months, before I give you this drug that I know that is incredibly dangerous. And to put that in perspective, it's about a person every 4 minutes in the US dies from an opioid drug they got because they had back pain. So my point there is you probably know someone who is living that and you have no idea they're living that, and they don't know they have another option. Here we go. We're going to skip past some of this because the fact is we need to hear this vital needs thing over and over again. If you didn't know, we're one of maybe 2 countries on the planet that get inundated with drug commercials all day long, every day. It's illegal everywhere else on the planet. I want to get to, come on. Come on. I'm skipping. I know this is stressing some of you out. It'll be okay. We'll get to this next time, because I want to leave time for things I promised would happen. But I'm going to leave you hanging. We'll get to it. And we had one of our patients who was willing to share in our workshop last week and wasn't able to make it. So she said, I'll be here and share tonight. So if you're okay with it, I know we're on recording. If you don't want to be on camera, that's fine. But if you want to come up and share your story.
This is a microphone, this is how it's recorded. So you can just pick it up.
So hi, I'm Sally. I came here initially for pregnancy. I wanted to have a happy, healthy pregnancy delivery. But I also had headaches that I didn't think were related. I always just thought, oh, I'm dehydrated, so I'll just drink more water. And literally, since I started chiropractic care, I haven't had a headache. So I don't know how long it's been, but months now that I haven't had a headache. So a surprising side effect, a good side effect of chiropractic care that I didn't initially come into.
And do you know the question that your husband asked me before you came in?
Today.
No, just in general, before you came in the first time. So do you remember the question you asked me? Okay, so the question was, can chiropractic help people who are pregnant? Or something very similar, right? So never was it on the radar of headaches.
Yeah, no.
And the answer was, well, actually, we specialize in that here, so absolutely. So I love that, and I love, one of the things I love the most is getting to be on your journey with you and experience, and getting to be part of that journey of you experiencing things that you didn't even think were possible.
Right.
So thank you.
No, there's a correlation at all. Thank you.
Well, how many people do you know that could be living that and have no idea there's a possibility? So again, my ask is really simple. It's just share with people. Some of them are going to want to know more, and some of them are going to go, you see a chiropractor, that's weird. That's okay. I don't need nobody. I don't need everybody to like me. I'm perfectly okay the way I am. And if people have an opportunity to live without headaches, Oh my goodness. How many people do you know that suffer from headaches? By the way, statistically, it's 80% of the population suffers from headaches at some point in their life. And a good chunk of that are like significant headaches that take them out for the day. So here's where we're going. So food, how long? So we established food as a vital need, yes? So I'm not asking how long you can live happily without food. It's different for all of us. How long do you believe the human body can live without food before it perishes? Maybe 21 days, maybe 3 weeks. So there's a little bit of a window. Now we could imagine there's a window because it's really on a lot of different things. If someone is incredibly fit and has very little reserves in their body, they're going to have less things to keep them going if they're not eating, yes? So food, it could be anywhere from a couple of months, maybe up to 2 months without eating a single thing. Some people's a little less, some people's a little more, but there's a window because it relies on a lot of other things. So does any one of you want to not eat food for 2 months? I know I don't. I get hangry. Anybody else get hangry in the room? Right? All right, water. A couple of days. Again, lots of different things that relate to it. If you live in a very arid environment or a desert, it's going to be way less than if you live in a very tropical mid-temperature that you're not like sweating all your stuff out, right? If there's more moisture in there, you can live a little longer, but it's days, maybe 3. So if you had a choice and you do have a choice and you needed to clean something up in your life to have a more profound impact on your life, do you change your entire diet and the food you put in your body, or do you change your drinking water habits? Which has the bigger impact? Water, absolutely. Water has a much more rapid effect on your body than food. Both are absolutely vital and needed for life. But if you're going to change something in our society, what do most people go to first? They go to food. There's nothing wrong with that choice. But they go to food. Meanwhile, they're not drinking anything that resembles actual water ever. Maybe. I got time. So last night we're on stories are important because then you remember. So we're on a phone call and it's a video conference call from 9 to 10 o'clock at night. So I got to have like every light on and take notes. Otherwise I'm probably going to fall asleep. And I am drinking a Spindrift. So I'm not advertising for Spindrift, but basically Spindrift, it's a seltzer water that they put a little bit of fruit juice in and nothing else. So I told Tori one day, I was like, what the heck is wrong with me that I found one in the fridge that I left here? I was like, ooh, it's my treat for the day. What in the world? Anyway, it's got like 3 calories in it. But anyway, so I'm drinking that. And one of the other coaches that we have sees me drinking it and texts me and goes, are you drinking a Coca-Cola? And I go, huh? So I sent her a picture of what it was. And I was like, actually, the last time I attempted to drink soda. So my brother-in-law retired from 26 years in the Navy this year. Awesome. So we threw his retirement party for him. And we didn't know how many people were coming. And they like soda. So we bought way more than we needed to because we didn't know how many people were coming. So I had this tiny little can of cherry Coke. I was like, I haven't had cherry Coke in years. I'm going to fill up my cup with ice. I'm going to pour some cherry Coke in there and I'm going to have a cherry Coke. 2 sips later, I dumped that puppy out because it was physically making me ill. So anyway, food or water, water is the more profound impact. And really, it's smaller changes with water are going to have a bigger impact than diet. And then, remember what the next one was? Oxygen, so air. So again, if there are free divers who do amazing things, but that's a whole different story I don't have time for. But if you lived in an environment that didn't have the cleanest of air, could we see how that could have a more profound impact on your life than water, right? So it's minutes. Come on, a little quicker. Maybe up to 6 minutes. Now I get there's some outliers. There's these crazy free divers that can be underwater for like 15 minutes at a time. The human body is amazing. And again, the power that made your body, the power that heals it. And there are so many things it's capable of that we can't even imagine as we sit here today. And the fact is, if you're not breathing, or maybe you don't even know how to properly breathe, that's a conversation for a whole different day. If you do all your breathing where your shoulders are moving and you never use your diaphragm, we'll get there a different day. We have a whole workshop related to sleep and stress relief, and we do breathing exercises in that workshop because most of us don't actually breathe properly. How crazy does that sound? We do it every day. It's probably the thing we do the most. But then again, we have nerve flow. So the conversation is exactly the same. We've already talked about how long can you live without nerve flow? Instantaneous, like milliseconds. If you cut off nerve flow, there is no more flow. So if you were to put this in a different perspective, if you are someone who has the skill sets and are willing to help at, say, a car accident, and this car accident was particularly not a great one, they never are, but you show up and maybe you're a first responder, maybe you have some skill sets in that. Do you care if the person had breakfast? Or if they had their protein shake? Or if they took their supplements? Or if they drank enough water that day? What's the first thing you care about? Are they breathing? Are they responsive? Do they have a pulse? Do they have any, are they breathing? And if they're not breathing, what might you check next? I know you know. Help me out back there. Yeah, and if there's not pulse or breath, this is pretty effective, right? So you really firmly, basically grate your sternum because it's very pain sensitive. And if there's any nerve function left in their body, they're going to respond to it. And if they don't, well, that's a bigger problem than if there's not a pulse, right? So the first line of defense, or the first thing we want to make sure of is, do they actually have nerve function left in their body? Then are they breathing? And then maybe months down the way, we care about if they drink water or not. So the most vital thing is nerve function. And what do we assess with every single adjustment that you get? So the adjustment, again, I'm don't quit and not come back tomorrow. So what percentage of nerve function is shut off by a single subluxation? Yeah, 60%. How much pressure does it take to shut off 60%? The weight of a dime or a feather is 60% shut off. And for the rest of the room, how many symptoms do you have at a 60% shut off of nerve flow? 0, which means a lot of the world is walking around at 40% of their life and potential, and they feel perfectly okay. Are you okay with living at 40%? I hope no one is. But if you don't know, you don't know. So you have to have a greater than 60% shut off of the most vital thing in your life before your body even puts on the check engine light. And when the check engine light shows up, again, what do most of our healthcare profession do for you? Duct tape the check engine light so you can't see it. Please don't do that in your car or your body. So when it comes to our vital needs, things are absolutely required. The most vital is having a brain and nervous system that works the way it's supposed to. And when that happens, we never know what's possible. Maybe it's headaches or no more headaches. Maybe it's allergies, or I know Tori is fine with this. Maybe it's you don't take an antidepressant medication anymore. Who knows? Maybe it's ADD medication. Maybe it's overcoming cancer. Maybe the list goes on and on and on. And the fact that the power that made your body is the power that heals your body means there is no limit to what's possible when it's working properly. So in our remaining 2 minutes, because I feel like Mike's going to hold me to this, remember what I asked. I want you to think of someone besides yourself that you're going to share something with tonight, and give them the opportunity to have the realization of the truth and the fact that if they're not getting their brain and nervous system checked on some kind of regular basis by a vitalistic chiropractor, they are not living the health and life they're supposed to have. So let's start with Miss Susie. Your brother. Awesome. Let's find them somebody in Florida. What'd you say? Lydia. Awesome. Coworker Zach. Coworker Tori. Tori probably have to write that one down. She'll remember. Jeremiah. We've talked about Jeremiah. Well, he was almost here. He just forgot to pick up the phone. Emily. Ron. Aunt Sally. Oh, Aunt Sally. Sorry, not Aunt Sally. I'm from the north. It's Aunt Sally. But anyway. Sure. That's his. How about yours? Okay. And I did say think about someone beside yourself, but
Myself for sure.
maybe you're close. You're almost there. Over for you. So working on your husband. Those husbands, man, they're stubborn people. You didn't hear that? You're getting married to your mom's. What's your mom's name? Robin. Awesome. So we,
I was.
you were absolutely one, you were one of the, I shouldn't say husbands, it's all spouses are stubborn anyway. I didn't say that. My wife is amazing. Still recording, but we all have stuff. And just because they said no the first time, is it valuable enough to give them an opportunity to live the life they deserve to have? So just simply share with them if there's things that we in the team can do to help them make a decision to either get checked or show up to a workshop or come see an adjustment. It's not about getting more people here, it's about getting more people informed so that we can live the life we were put on this planet for. So thank you. Have a great evening. And Mike, it's still, my computer still says 6:30, just so you know.